Okay, guys, Novak news. This is something very, very new tonight. We actually were catching up with some friends who are here at the moment from America. And we're like, welcome, guys. Let's have a drink. And by the way, we're just going to get you live on our Novak news show. So welcome, girls. These girls are all here from America. We've got Lauren, we've got Dottie, and we've got Steph, and a girlfriend of mine, Kim. Now, Kim is originally from New Zealand. Then moved to Sydney, Australia, moved over to Chicago, met all these girls, brought them all over here on a vacation, and now has moved back to Australia. But we are seeing, I can hear some champagne popping in the background. What we are seeing at the moment, guys, is a big influx of immigrants coming into the country, coming in and buying a lot of luxury property in Australia, which is amazing. We love that. But having spent 2 weeks here, I think it's interesting to actually ask the tourists what they love or don't love about Australia, and maybe some of the things that they've heard. We were just talking about a
drop
pooing in a bag or something. No, what did I get? All right, well, let's start. G-rated show, actually. G-rated show. So what were we just talking about, Kim?
I told my friends that they don't have good plumbing in Australia, and we can't do number twos in the toilet. You have to open up a Ziploc bag, do it in there, and then close it and put it in the rubbish bin.
Okay. So I'm interested to hear from you girls, because you've never been to Australia, correct? You've never been to Australia before. All right. So let's start with you, Steph. What did you think before you came to Australia? Like, what is an American's perspective on Australia as a country?
So I think I was most shocked by the landscape, how hilly it was here.
Right.
Because I don't know, I just thought everything was more spread out.
Okay.
So for me, when we started driving around, I mean, it felt like a lot of parts of California when you're getting up into the hills. And I just assumed everything was a little bit flatter around the water.
Right. Okay. And just like dirt, did you think that we had like houses and buildings and things like that?
I knew that there was buildings, but I don't think I knew how lush it was here and all the different landscape. Yeah. The landscape is very different.
Okay, interesting. So, Dottie, what about you?
Well, I have to agree with the landscaping. I love that part of it. I was really shocked with...
Oh, look at this service.
Yes, service
you don't get this sort of service, do you, in America?
I'm staying, please.
I was really shocked with like how you will drive by one house and it looks so stately, and then you drive by another home and it's beautifully modern and tall and, you know, sitting on a cliff with like gorgeous views. So I didn't really expect that. And I also didn't expect that we were like right in the middle of a coastal city.
Okay, interesting. Lauren?
The hilly aspect was different for me. I have to say the people have been amazing. That was like the one thing. I didn't realize it is very much like the United States, but I would definitely say it's like a California, how the homes are stacked with the beautiful views. It's more like a Malibu.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But then you can go to Melbourne and have beautiful views and spread out a little more. Yeah. So you get a little bit of vacation with what you're doing. Yeah. Like I didn't realize how close everything kind of was.
Interesting. Kim, you have lived in America, and obviously you've spent a huge amount of time in Australia.
Yeah.
What do you reckon is the difference? What's the big difference that you've seen?
I mean, obviously I was in Chicago, so there's no ocean. So and that's probably, I mean, I was there for 7 years, and obviously here for 9 before that. And the thing that I missed, obviously, apart from you,
obviously,
was the ocean. I really, you're sort of. Chicago is a landlocked city, although you've got Lake Michigan, which feels like an ocean anyway. But that was the one thing that I missed the most, was the salt water and just having beaches and the beautiful beaches they have here. I also missed you have great views here. I have a great view currently, and I looked straight into my neighbor's house, and in Chicago the views aren't so good because everything is flat in Illinois. Illinois is flat everywhere. So unless you're in a building that's 1 million stories high, you don't have a view from a house.
Yeah, right. Okay,
So,
interesting. And perspective on Australians, like there's no doubt Australians have got this love affair with Americans. Like they just do. You know, I listen to you girls
That's
talk.
shocking, actually,
It's
to me.
we love Americans, you know, and for us, I mean, America is just bigger than life and it's exciting and it's fast paced and all of that. I mean, we've just been over in New York and the accent, you know, we love everything about it. Is it reciprocated? Do Americans feel the same about it?
You guys are, I think you guys are also cheeky and funny. And I think Americans are, I mean, not all, but as a generalization,
Not
a
near as
little,
friendly.
right, not as friendly
Right.
and more to yourselves and a little bit harder, right? Where you guys are very welcoming. Everyone that we've met, whether we're shopping, we're at the grocery store, at a meal, you know, out to dinner, I feel like everyone's been
Everyone
so
except for
nice.
Kim.
Yeah. I mean, our Uber drivers, you know, I mean, it's, yeah. I
They
mean,
have a nice Midwest feel to them.
I think
So
it's too
think
because
the Midwest is
it feels
different.
safe where, I mean, there's parts in America, big cities in general now in America are not necessarily
No.
the safest
Yeah.
place to be. And I mean, my biggest takeaway here is if my kids ever want to come back, I would come by myself and I'd be able to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Everything by myself.
It feels very, very safe for sure.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest things, the difference. It is definitely safer here than most of the big cities in America.
Yeah.
And, you know, they all three of them have said that, right? Like, you don't really like going downtown Chicago right now.
Yeah, that actually
yeah.
was my biggest takeaway with the people here. I feel like people love living here. And if you're in a little store and you talk about living here, everybody's really excited about where they live and excited for you to see where they live. And that's sort of changed a little bit in the U.S. lately.
Yeah.
I think, for
No,
sure.
And it's
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
a healthy environment too. Like we have a house in Park City, Utah, where I love having our kids out there because you can be outside all day there in the snow or the, you know, summer hiking and that kind of stuff. And here it's so healthy because you can be outside.
You're outdoors.
Outdoors, where we get stuck at home in the winter. They haven't seen the sun in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. And our seasons, they do change, but they don't change as dramatically for you guys because obviously you've got snow. And then in summer it gets to, I mean, I don't know what Fahrenheit is, but
It
in
can
summer.
get up to like 45 degrees. So it gets really, really hot and it can be minus 30.
Right.
So it's almost like, it can be almost like 100 degrees different.
Yeah. So we don't get those really, really big seasons. But I've got some questions I want to ask you guys. I actually just did a little bit of research. So let me just bring them up for 1 sec.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here we go. No, a few little things that I just Googled just before we came on here. Would you agree or disagree that Australia has a higher quality of life
Agreed.
than America?
I'll give it a minute.
Kim?
I feel bad saying that because it is a good quality
Don't
of
feel
life,
bad.
yes.
Don't feel bad.
But
I'm
it's
better quality of life
but very
here in
different.
Australia. Yeah.
It depends. That's very subjective, though. It depends
Right.
who you are. I
Depends
think
on
I
what
love
you
my
value
life
as
here,
quality.
yes,
Right.
but I mean, Connor would love to be back in America because he misses American football.
Right. Connor's Kim's son.
15, 16.
And that's a big thing because you guys actually sport. Let's talk about that as well just for 1 sec because we went to a basketball game over in New York and I've got to say it was part basketball and it was part like a dance party.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Massive social.
Now you girls have all just been to the Australian Open and made comments that it felt like it was all, you know, smaller and quieter and more organised maybe.
Intimate.
I found that quite interesting. I must say, when we got to the basketball, I was like, oh my God, all these people are getting up, they're singing, they're dancing.
Yeah,
It's
such an
unbelievable.
atmosphere.
Such an atmosphere.
Yeah.
And in many respects, I feel like Americans are so much more patriotic. You know, I feel like in Australia,
sure.
we're a little bit more
That's
conservative
100%.
like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, you go down the street, you've got all the beautiful big American flags flying everywhere. In Australia, we're just a little bit more conservative.
Really here for
right?
Australia Day.
Yeah, you were. You were,
Yes.
definitely. And you loved it too. Okay, cost of listen to this. This is an interesting stat. The cost of living in Australia is higher on almost all items from everyday to big ticket items compared to the US.
Really?
Yes.
Well, our
surprises
American
me.
dollar is really strong right now,
Yeah.
which it normally usually isn't. So for us being here right now, everything seems very inexpensive
Purely
Yeah.
because
in
of the
comparison
American dollar.
Right.
to at
Okay.
home right now. Because And you guys don't have the tax. We have a tax. Everything is taxed.
Yeah. We
You
do.
know-
We do have tax.
Oh,
on
you
certain
do?
items.
Okay.
Yes, we do. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's
like,
included. That's right.
for us, it's the food, it's, you know, the clothing. I mean, you name it. Anything that you
Interesting.
purchase.
Service. I want to hear about that because Americans have always prided themselves on service and speed and, you know, and everything. What do you think in terms of the service that you get here?
It's a little slower.
It's slow. It definitely
a little
is.
slower.
It's definitely
they really
is
notice
slower.
that.
Yeah.
At the restaurants, it's a lot slower.
Is that
Yeah.
really?
But you also don't
Wow.
tip here either, which
Which
is
No,
so
that's right.
interesting to us because I feel like if you tipped them, they would be a little quicker, maybe. Right? Like,
That's what they need to change.
And then
here.
they were trying to
Yeah.
tip them American dollars,
And they're-
which
Yeah.
is
one guy
good.
reached
Right.
out $100 bill
Yeah.
to me and he goes, I can't take it. I'm like,
$100
Why
bill is
can't
about
you take it?
$165.
God, you should have given it to us. We'll
Yeah,
take
yeah.
it.
and I said, just put it in your pocket and stop.
The crime rate in Australia is much lower than in
That's
the
right.
United States of America.
Sure.
Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then I think just from speaking with you, Kim, after COVID, things got a lot worse, right, in
Yes.
America? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Because again, you were living in Australia pre-COVID, then you came back post-COVID. Do you think Australia's changed in respect to that?
Not that I've seen. No, I feel very safe here. I feel that work and everything, everyone seems to be sort of the same. I'm sure you had some hard times,
Yeah.
but not nearly as much as what changed over there. I mean, like I said, no one goes into the city anymore because they're too scared.
It's unbelievable. Actually unbelievable. America, listen to this. Which is more beautiful, America or Australia? What would you girls think?
Such a hard.
That's
I mean, I
hard.
think they're both
depends.
beautiful in their own regards. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the water and the views and
Yeah.
the
Rolling hills
Landscape.
and the greenery.
but
Yeah,
we do
the
have
landscape.
that in certain parts of
Yeah.
America.
I think
Yeah.
it's easier to ask Chicago or Sydney.
Oh, that's easy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's Sydney because
Right.
it is a beautiful place to live.
Yeah.
Chicago's pretty beautiful
These
as well.
girls, these
I prefer
girls
that.
are going to, they're all going to build her up afterwards.
Yeah, but no, I do. Don't you
But-
think? When you
Yeah.
say,
Yeah, Chicago
Yeah.
but
versus
then there are
Sydney, no
beautiful. I
question.
mean, America's so big, right? So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have so
yeah.
many.
Then you go to the East Coast and you see just, it's all totally different. That's
I
the
mean,
thing.
Melbourne felt like a big city. Melbourne felt like any big city when
Yeah.
we visited there, you know?
Yeah. Well, they're lacking the harbour. You know,
Yeah.
they're all about the culture there. But the vote came in that America has vastly more beautiful scenery. There
Really?
you
Yeah.
go. Interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, a few other things. Australians tend to believe the US is dangerous, unstable, intolerant, and undemocratic.
Ooh,
Would you agree or disagree?
definitely a big change.
It's
in
a big
America
change.
lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely just is a different vibe. Like, but I mean, we haven't really seen crime here.
No.
We've only been here for 2 weeks, but you don't feel I feel not as safe as I used to back at home.
In America.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I have to say, traveling just now to New York, I honestly felt the difference there. And I don't know if it was because they've legalized marijuana over there, and everywhere we went, we could smell it. Initially, my thoughts were, who cares? It's not really that big a deal. But when we got there, it
smells
actually
so bad.
was a real problem. I mean, a lot of people were stoned and people are smoking joints and doing all that sort of stuff. Everyone can do whatever they want to do. But I do think that it has changed things significantly. I do.
That's
From when we were there last time. I
That's
really do.
interesting.
Mark's sitting in the back stalls here. Any questions, Mark, for the girls?
Who was nicer, you or me?
Oh, that's a unanimous vote. You know us girls will stick together. That's a unanimous.
We don't have sharks though. We don't have sharks.
No, correct.
Not in Florida we do, but not in Chicago. There
Actually,
are no sharks.
And this is funny actually because Kim took the girls out on a paddleboard, was it?
Kayak.
Oh, on a kayak. Okay, who wants to tell that
To
story?
a dolphin sanctuary.
Right.
We saw
And-
0 dolphins.
In
But-
Sorrento, in the Morningside Peninsula, where they, in the inlet, there's no sharks ever. They haven't had a shark sighting in, 20 years.
Yeah.
And there was a 4-meter shark there, and we think that
Don't listen, Americans. Don't listen.
we think that it shoved it into Dottie and Stephanie's thing and completely got Dottie's hair wet, which she hates because she doesn't like to have her hair wet at any time. So
Amen to that.
Yeah.
We're alive to tell the story.
I don't know many people have been shunted by a shark.
Yeah. No,
And
this is true. Listen, that's a great story to go home and tell. And then someone got bitten by a spider as well,
I
didn't
did.
they? You got bitten by a spider.
Yeah.
But listen, live to tell the story. Live to tell the story.
But
All in all,
nothing was worse than the bridge climb. Really good. Nothing was worse than the bridge climb. The Sydney bridge climb, which, by the way, locals don't do.
Yeah.
We were just lucky enough to do it. Yeah. No locals have done it.
oh my God.
See?
So, okay, why? Well, I've never done it, I'll be honest. I've never done the bridge climb
See?
either. It's fun. It's a funny thing. Australians don't tend to travel an enormous amount around their country.
Right.
And you guys have probably done more in the 2 weeks
No.
that you've been here
Right.
than we've
Yeah.
done in the whole time we've ever lived in
Like
the
in
country.
Chicago, I've never gone down to the Chicago Bean, and she's like, that was the first
Which
thing
is
we
a
did.
famous monument.
Right,
So take-
okay.
you
I've
take
never been
tourists
there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I've never taken my kids to the beach in Chicago.
Oh
Why
my
would
God.
you do that?
That is
It's so
hysterical.
yeah, I would never do it.
That would be classified torture if we did not ever take our children to a
Yes.
beach here in
Yeah.
Australia.
The water's too cold to get into anyway.
That's
So what's
it,
the point?
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Mark, before we wrap up, questions for the girls? No
No,
questions.
it's all over to you.
Look at him, he got so quiet. All right, guys, would you return? And let's rank Australia. Let's rank it out of 10. Steph, out of 10. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Lauren, 10 out of 10. Kim, 10 out of 10. There you go, unanimous. Girls, cheers. Welcome to our country. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.
Kimmy,
Short and
thank
sweet.
you.